Hello everyone, Aimless Squirrel here, formerly Sassy Lass Craft Room. I did change my name of the channel. If you have watched my channel, then you probably have guessed why, because Aimless Squirrel fits pretty well. I'm kind of all over the place. Anyway, I am participating in this month's 5 Under 5. That is one of my goals for this year, is to do it every single month. This month's theme is spring, and I actually struggled with this a little bit because all the ideas I initially came up with, everything I was finding everywhere was Easter specific. So I ended out really liking what I came up with. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Let's go ahead and get into it. I got this little terracotta photo or name holder at Hobby Lobby at the after spring clearance last year, as well as these other two things. So let's see, all in all, that was, I think, 75 cents, $2, I think that was $1, so $3.75. All right, so I just took the metal piece for the name holder, placeholder, sorry, out of it, and it came out very easily. And then I'm going to go over it with some Waverly White chalk paint with a fairly dry brush, because I still wanted a lot of that terracotta to show through. I just didn't want it to be, straight up terracotta. So that's what I ended out with, whatever. It's still a source of, not contention. It's not tension. They just make fun of me, basically, for saying it. Anyway. All right, so I just shoved the pot in there, and then it did take me a while to get it to sit flat like I wanted it to on the top of that. I'm not gluing anything because I want to be able to reuse a lot of this stuff for different types of projects. But if you wanted a more permanent one, then, glue it. And it does look a little different here, and you will find out why later, but $3.75-ish, I think that looks pretty cute. All right, here's another clearance spring item. And so it cost me $2. Now this time I took it out, but I am going to use it. In fact, I'm going to use the other one as well. So I have these stickers from Spellbinders from years ago, and they're just so pretty, such pretty spring colors, and they're dimensional. And initially I was just going to do the one because I was like, oh, well, I have this one metal piece. I'll just use it, stick a butterfly in there. And I decided I didn't want the shiny galvanized, so going over it with some white Waverly chalk paint as well. This time I am using a paper towel, just kind of, well, this time it started out swiping it, and then I go through later and just kind of blot it to give it a little more texture. And you'll see me do it. There you go. There I am. So I just kind of wanted it to give it a little more texture. But again, I didn't want complete coverage. I want some of the galvanized to show through. Going for kind of aged here. So then I remembered, hey, I have that other piece and I have more stickers. So I'm really loving purple for spring this year. So I had a purple butterfly. I'm going to shove that in there too. It does take me a little bit to kind of figure out where I want them and to get them in place like I want. And had I had some clippers, I probably would have trimmed that one so that I could put it in there lower. You also could, trim off quite a bit of it and probably glue it in there. But again, I'm not gluing anything because I don't want anything permanent. But I think it really did turn out very cute as is, and I love it. All right, so I'm participating in this month's 5 Under 5. This is Spring Decor, hosted by Emily from Farm Charm Chic and Missy from the Crafty Cove. And our guest host this time is Kendra from Late Night Creations. If you have not checked out their channels, you absolutely need to do so. The three of them are amazing and come up with the cutest stuff. And I can't wait to see what everybody else has come up with for the spring decor. This one was the most time-consuming of all of the projects. It still didn't take very much time. All right, so I have this cutting board that I originally got from IKEA for paper crafting purposes, but it just didn't work out like I needed it to, so I am reusing it here. honestly, I have no idea how much I paid for it. And then I have fabric that I got at the Dollar Tree. I have some, I guess, lavender uh, floral picks that I got from Walmart that were $1. And then that was, I think, pastel lilac paint that I got at Hobby Lobby. And so I coated it and I just let it dry. And I did sand it a little bit. I initially thought I'll just leave it like this because I like that natural wood showing through. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to try something I haven't tried before. I'm going to go out of my comfort zone a little bit, go out of my norm. And so I just kind of put on streaks, basically, of a brown paint. And then while that was still wet, I went over it with that same purple paint. And like I said, I'm really loving the purple for spring this year. I realized very quickly that that little bitty brush was just not going to work. So at this point, I was regretting my decision. I knew that obviously if the brown paint was still wet and I'm putting on this, it would just kind of blend together. And that was kind of what I wanted, but it just wasn't doing what I was wanting it to. It just wasn't my vision. But I decided to stick with it. I hit it with my Stampin' Up. It's a heat embossing tool. Well, it's just a heat tool, really, but I bought it initially for heat embossing. Then, after it was completely dry, I went over it with that purple paint again, and I think I ended up doing like another, I would say, coat and a half, and they were really, really thin coats anyway, but I guess I would call it a coat and a half of the purple paint. And now I'm liking the way it's looking, so I'm going to go through and just stress it a little bit, have some of that darker brown and the lighter brown show through. I just wanted it to look like, it was old and that maybe it had been stained and painted, a couple of times. So I didn't go overboard with the distressing. I don't like it to look really distressed. I don't want my products to feel distressed. Anyway, that was a bad joke. All right, so I'm taking my fabric, and the thinking here was that, hey, the back side of that is a little bit bigger, so I can totally use that to gauge the size that I need and, kind of fold it over like I'm doing there and make a cute little pocket. That'll work out great. Well, there's not a very big difference between the front and the back of that, so it really wasn't big enough. And I guess maybe I wasn't giving my hot glue gun enough time to get hot enough or something. I don't know. Because I glued that sucker probably 4 different times before it finally stuck. So what I finally decided to do was I went ahead and trimmed it to just about the size of that top layer and rounded off the bottom edges and cut it a bit shorter, and then just glued it directly to the front instead of trying to have that little fold over. And it worked out just fine. So, and I'm just letting the edges fray and kind of let the top fray. I like that frayed look. And then I'm just going to pull off a few of those lavender sprigs, or cut off, I didn't pull them off, and put those in there. Initially I put 3, and it was actually just a little too full in my opinion, so I took out 1 and just left it at 2, and that to me was perfect. I probably should have had a little bit more fabric so that the pocket could have a little bit more give, I guess, but all in all, I think it also turned out really, really cute. And it doesn't have to just be spring. I think you could take those out and replace it with other things. Even though the paint is purple, it's like barely purple. So I think you could use it pretty much throughout the year. Okay, so this is why this project looks a little different later. I take apart that napkin ring. It's a little boxwood napkin ring, and I was hoping I could cut it in half, but no such luck. But I did realize that I can just pull off those little sprigs. So that is what I did. And this I wish I hadn't done. I trimmed that because I thought it would go around that pot a little bit better, but it just ends out looking a little funky in the back. But anyway, it's done. All right, so I have this very light blue or aqua candle holder from the Dollar Tree, Spanish moss from Walmart, because of course I can't find it at my Dollar Tree. It is more expensive, but there is a lot of it, so it'll go a long way. All right, so I just wanted a little bit, and you see me kind of pulling and tugging a little bit to kind of make a hole in the middle, because I wanted it to look kind of like a nest. I was going for sort of bird nest-ish look. Now, if you're wanting it to be permanent, you're going to want to hot glue that down. And I took my little sprigs of boxwood and made a little nest around there. And again, you're going to want to hot glue that down. And I should have done it after I put the bunny in there, because once I put the bunny in there, it all fell apart. So I had to redo all of that. So it really, really would have been better to just hot glue it. But I was determined to have stuff I could reuse, because I don't want to store a ton of holiday decor. So, all right, I got the bunny at the Dollar Tree, and it really is cute. It wasn't quite my vision, but it really did turn out adorable. All right, moving on to the last project. So I'm going to make a little wooden riser. I got this wooden piece at the Dollar Tree, so $1.25. Painted it white with Waverly white chalk paint, and had to get a smaller brush to go around the edges there. Here I taped off, I wanted a French stripe, so I used different sizes of washi tape so it wouldn't tear up the white paint I already had, and I only want it on the raised part. So I'm being very careful going around the edges there to make sure that I don't get any on the sides. And right here is where the washi tape gives me some issues. It just does not want to let go of me. All right, so there's that. I do distress it here in a bit, but I went on to my feet. I'm just using wooden beads I got from Amazon. This is not the most efficient way to do this, but it was the most fun. So I just put them on a skewer, and I just spun it really fast with the brush with a lot of white paint on it, and it eventually got covered. There are better ways to do it though. All right, so I did distress that a little bit, not too much, and I spaced my little feet out as evenly as I possibly could, and there you have it. It's done. I stuck another one of those little bunnies on there and some boxwood, but you can definitely use that times of the year other than spring, especially if you use a lot of purple decor in your house. All right, well, there they all are together. I think they all turned out super adorable, and I'm very excited about displaying them in my home. All right, well, that is it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It is a cold, wet, yucky afternoon. Hopefully by the 5th it's cleared up a little bit and everybody's a little bit warmer and less soggy. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, I would love it if you would consider becoming a subscriber. And if you know somebody who just loves a good DIY and likes some ideas, then go ahead and send it their way. Thank you for being here today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.